Hi there, my name is Michael Tyler Schlosser, though I do go by Tyler. It's a long story, you don't have to worry about it for today. Today I will be presenting an artifact analysis speech with this pretty little number right here. First off, I'd like to shed some light regarding the background of my analysis. Firstly, the background of this statue I have here. I acquired this thing on a field trip, road trip, guy's trip with some of my family, namely my father, my cousin, and my grandfather. Some more background about my grandfather, who's the primary figure this connects to. His name was Daniel Schlosser, though I, of course, called him Grandpa Dan. He worked at General Motors as a union representative for the vast majority of his life, and throughout his life, he always had a love of American history, specifically the history of the American Civil War and the American Frontier Wars, which is when we fought against the Native Americans. The statue itself denotes, and of course is, a miniature copper version of the Lincoln Memorial Monument. Of course, just the monument itself, as the rest of the building is quite lacking. Of course, a more meaningful connotation is a connection to my grandfather, due to its acquisition both being on a trip with him and being greatly related to American history, the Civil War, which he was quite fond of. On this trip, we traveled through West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and all the way back to Ohio. Of course, throughout the travels, we explored many different Civil War battlegrounds and other related locations, and it served as a plentiful source of bonding between me, my cousin, my father, and namely, my grandfather. The belief I hold that this statue symbolizes is that if I can appreciate the figurative magic of American history, the allure of it all, I can at the same time remember and honor my grandfather, who did it for so much longer and so much more passionately than I did. Much of the time I spent with my grandfather revolved around American history, as did most of my fondest memories of and with him. By appreciating American history, it reminds me of my time with my grandfather and makes me appreciate that time and my grandfather as a person. In conclusion, by looking at this artifact, by looking at the statue of the Abraham Lincoln Memorial, it reminds me of that trip that I got to bond with him so much of. It reminds me of American history, and as such, reminds me of him, his love he had for American history, and the love I have of him. And that about wraps it up. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful day.